Now in this video we'll be going through failsafe and presets. I'm going to do brief into failsafe, and here you have valid pulse rate settings. It'll tell you the pulse shorter than minimum or longer than maximum are invalid and will trigger application of individual channel fallback settings for aux channels or entering stage 1 for flight channels. Now I will be very honest, this is more of an intermediate Betaflight tutorials and I don't use failsafe. I never really got to really learn everything in failsafe, but the valid pulse range settings, I'm not going to play with that. That's something that's easily researchable and you can work with. Now channel fallback settings, that's when your receiver and your transmitter loses connection. Here you can have different settings here. So when it loses connection, what do I want my roll axis to do? Either I want it to hold, which is to hold at a certain position, or I want to set it. If I want to set it, then therefore I can set it to a certain rating right here. So on receiver right here, you see this is my roll right here at 1500. My pitch is 1500, my yaw is 1500, and my throttle is 885. And with these settings right here, it means that my drone is facing forward and is flat on the x-axis. It's basically flat. That's generally what those stuff means right here. So this is my controls, my yokes, which are my sticks that control my drone on my transmitter. And if you don't understand, those are your yokes. So you have two yokes here. You have your throttle here. You have your roll. Sorry, your yaw. This is your roll and this is your pitch. Now I take these values right here and I can go to failsafe, and if I lose connection because I'm probably too far away or my transmitter just malfunction or my receiver malfunction, but I lose connection between the receiver and the transmitter, therefore I can have either auto or I can have hold or set. Now auto is basically the settings that Betaflight chooses, and it's usually probably just set it as auto to just wherever it loses connection, it's just going to continue flying that direction. Now since I don't want it on auto, hold on the other hand is basically just auto by default. Whatever number or whatever rate it is at the moment. So if my throttle is right up here because I'm giving lots of throttle, which is I'm bolting forward, therefore if I lose connection between my receiver and my transmitter, the stick will simulate it stuck as this. The rates on the flight controller will be stuck as that, even though I'm moving that because that now is useless because there's no connection. It'll be stuck as that. This is hold, and this is also the auto mode. Now throttle at 885 means the drone is at idle mode. It idles at basically 885, so generally that drone will just get straight into the sky and just fall down. So failsafe, I'm going to put it as everything manually, set it at 1500 for roll, for pitch, for yaw, and for throttle. I can put something that generally depicts my drone like having enough throttle but slowly going down. And it may not hold because you don't have GPS and you don't have it to try to stay steady, but the gyro sensor and the accelerometer always try its best to keep you nice and steady. Now I'm not going to do anything in failsafe, but failsafe you can also set or hold for aux channels. So if I actually lose connection between my receiver and my transmitter, let's say aux free is pit mode. Let's make it a bit more realistic. Let's say aux free is AM. Let's say aux free is this one. I map this button as aux free, and if it has the AM button, an AM button will basically be down for me, let's say that's my arm position right here, and let's say this is aux free, and let's say my arm position is generally 1/500. Now this stuff will change here when your drone is actually connected to the transmitter. Right now it is not, so everything looks very flush except for throttle. The throttle is always down. But let's say 1/500 means it's turned on. In the failsafe here for aux free, I can put it to when it's turned down. When it's turned down or turned off, which is basically when I flip that up, which is my drone being disarmed. And if disarmed is 1000 in my receivers tab, I can put this here as 1000. It basically means if I lose connection between those two, the drone will switch to disarm mode, and the drone will just fall from the sky and fall down. That's very good. Like if you're not flying at very high, or you don't want to damage your drone, and you want the drone to just fall down exactly where it is. Now let's move on to failsafe switch. So this here, you have valid pulse rate. So this here is basically the maximum and the minimum length of you losing transmitter and receiver connection, and you can have between those rates right here. So maximum, then you're going to go to stage 1 here. If maximum have actually been satisfied in length, and minimum, so generally if it's not enough as yet, it's going to wait until maximum to go to failsafe, and let's see, we go to stage 2 immediately. So after stage 1 here, you can have stage 1 first and then stage 2, or you can go simple as that. Stage 2 will be these right here, and you'll go directly into those settings right here. So failsafe throttle, low delay, you can have it going, the throttle going down slowly by increments via seconds, 10 seconds. And you're going to have period of time in stage 1 is, if you're going to go through stage 2, how long would it actually stay in stage 1 before you go to stage 2? So stage 2, basically there are failsafe procedures. You can have drop, or you can also have land, which is that one here. So the drone will try the best to stay nice and flat, and it'll land. But drop means everything is just going to be disabled. Your throttle, everything just, your drone just disarm and just crash wherever it feels safe. Wherever it feels safe on land, it will do it best to land exactly where it is there, and this is a good settings right here. So throttle value used while landing, you can set your throttle so you actually have a throttle that you need to activate this here, and have a throttle that's enough to know that your drone is going down nicely and smoothly, gradually, instead of just going straight down like the throttle is off. For example, if that's the throttle setting, the throttle value for when your receiver is connected, if you put at 885, therefore your throttle value will be 885, basically like just idle mode, your drone will fall really fast. So you're going to put a throttle here where your drone goes down gradually. And you're going to have delay for tuning off the motors during failsafe seconds. That's generally self-implied. And GPS rescue, you can have a return to home if you have a home. So the drone will now turn around, and this is the drone facing forward. Then you're going to come towards your return to home. And this is attitude mode, and those are different settings if you have GPS rescue turned on. So you can set those different settings for maximum pitch angle, how much pitch you want it to have. So for now, I'm going to have failsafe, leave it as drop, and I will not reboot it. I will not save and reboot because I don't want to have any settings right here. Never mind, I will. Still going to go. I have after this anyways. We're going to be going through the presets. So presets, on the other hand, is if you have a drone fully flash, it has a firmware, you can use presets to actually get PID tunings out of it. So it's like a backup of a drone over the internet. So people just basically upload their best configurations, and then they also have the firmware major, which is 225.12. they're going to put different keywords there to tell you what board that they use, all this kind of stuff. So this preset here, you can search for different presets and you can search for different firmwares here. I'm going to keep it as the latest firmware. You're going to have different offers if you actually know someone that makes good Betaflight presets. And you're going to have status here. So status will be where it come from. It is basically from a company or community and so on. So first and foremost, it's quite simple, and I have a 10-inch drone, and this preset here shows that for 7-inch. That means tuning will be very much different. And here I have a UAV tech. It uses 10-inch. That's the width of the drone. It uses 31XX motors. My motors for my 10-inch drone is 1050 kV, but this one uses 3100 and something kV motors. That's not for me. That's very far for my tuning. So based on the name, you can get different tunings right here. And you have UAV here, 9-inch, 8-inch. So the 8-inch and the 9-inch doesn't make much of a difference with that tuning. So I'm not going to use it. I have a 10-inch. That's generally presets on the whole. So that's the only 10-inch I see right here. I can click on this here. Then I can click on pick. So here I have a picture of the drone right here. I click on pick. When I click on pick, there's other options here to choose RPM filtering if needed, and certain other options. But I'm not going to be using that one. But I'm just saying, if I want to pick that preset for my drone, I'll click on pick right here. If you want to see the CLI, you can click show CLI. Then you tell me all the CLI options there and pick what I want from it. For now, I'll click on close. But you can also make your own presets. So right here, you can click on save backup. You can save it to your computer with the name that you want, and then you click on save. I have so many backups right here, so I just press cancel, but I'm going to click on save. And now in presets, if I have 10 of those drones that have the exact things on them, so my preset will consist of every single setting for my Betaflight, including adjustment modes, receiver settings, servo settings, the motors, like the motor directions, the motor orders and all this kind of stuff. If it's quad X, if I'm using this short 300 or 600, every single thing in my preset for Betaflight will be stored in that preset that I just saved there. And now if I upload it to many different drones, after I flash the firmware, then I click on load backup. I select that preset, then I press open. And then it'll give me the CLI right here. Oh, it didn't give me the CLI. Usually give me the CLI. Then I press close. Now first and foremost, I just loaded a 5-inch preset onto my 10-inch drone, so they're gonna have lots of differences. And for this, I am not going to. I have to reset. I have to now put a 10-inch preset on that drone, and generally it doesn't make much of a difference because I never had any PID tuning from the preset I just loaded. But that's it for presets. Like I said, I'm not going to be going through PID tuning in a whole, but in essence, it just generally tunes your drone so you can have faster responses and slower responses from your sticks. The next video is going to be the receivers tab. Okay, it's kind of going to be long, and this is where we connect our drone to our receiver. So guys, thanks for watching, and this is the PID tuning and presets done.